Hi guys, Sarah Mann here with Trep Girls Book Club. We are on chapter 2 of The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. Thank you for joining me. So let's dig right in. Chapter 1 was about introducing us to the upper limit problem and the belief that when we have downfalls right after major successes, that is basically us getting in our own way because we feel for some reason that we can't or don't deserve to succeed beyond whatever comfort zone we have. And I get comfort zones, but this upper limit problem was a new experience or a new word for me until I started reading it last year, and this is the second time reading it. And so the upper limit problem I've had a year to marinate on and off, and realize that yes, it is a real thing. I do get in my own way, and that it is based out of fears and misconceptions about who I am and my impact on this planet and what I deserve and what I don't deserve. Just some weird beliefs that I didn't even know were really deep within me and started a long time ago when I was a child. So chapter 2 is awesome because it goes back to those foundations of where that belief became solid in your mind. So he gives 4 basic hidden barriers. These are the 4, and he says that everyone at least has one of these, if not more, of these hidden barriers. So in chapter 2, he talks about the first hidden barrier, and if you don't mind, I have to read off camera here. Hidden barrier number 1 is feeling fundamentally flawed, and that's me for sure. I have always felt like even if I had some sort of gift, it is flawed. It's not good enough anyways. So why even try if it's just gonna suck? Because deep down, I'm a broken vessel, pretty much. That is a common hidden barrier. And so to even hear that really gave me a lot of encouragement that that mindset is wrong, and it is not me that is the only one that feels like I'm flawed. So he goes into one of his clients because he's a psychologist, and so he talks about one of his clients, Carl, who thought he was fundamentally flawed, that he could not get past this one area. Let me read it. Fail small. He thought that his dad could not ever be proud of him. His dad always looked at him in a weird way, and he found out later that it was because his dad always saw his ex-wife in Carl's face, and so he'd always kind of look at him, and Carl felt like that reflected on him, like his dad always thought he was a flawed person, when really he was just reminded of his ex-wife every time he looked into his son's eyes. Now that's a legitimate thing, but for Carl to take that on is not something that he has to carry anymore, nor should he have ever carried it in the first place. But people are flawed, and so now that he knows, he's not going to believe he's fundamentally flawed anymore. That was a neat reveal for Carl. And when I think about it, I think about my dad leaving when I was a kid, and it was really weird, and there was no goodbye or anything. He just divorced my mom and left. And this is personal, but if it can help, I hope it does. So I always felt like he left me for something I did. And that's not new. A lot of kids going through divorce believe that. But then for many, many years, there was no reassurance that it wasn't me. My mom didn't even know. I was a quiet kid. So I went through life thinking like, I'm just abandoned, like people can just abandon me. It's okay. They'll just disappear because there's something wrong with me. And that fundamental belief that I used to have really affected how I pursued goals. I didn't think I'd really get that far. So that one was a personal one and an actual hidden barrier for me. That's hidden barrier number 1. Hidden barrier number 2 is disloyalty. Would you be betraying the family by being successful? Is there some hidden rule that the family has that you can't be successful, or being successful is this, not this. Or what's the other example he gives? It's would you be breaking a hidden rule if you were to become successful in a way that wasn't how the family anticipated, and things like that. Basically, you don't succeed in whatever you're gifted at or whatever your creative genius is because you're worried that your family will not love you, or that you will disappoint them just for being you. So you don't try. And that one was weird. I kind of don't really relate to that one, but I know a lot of people do, and it gives a good example of somebody who does. There was a guy in the book, he wanted to get married, and he thought his family was old money and that they would not approve of her, so he eloped. And their elopement was just one wacky thing after another of mishaps. They even got covered in poison oak or poison ivy, something like that. So he happens to be a client of the author's, and the author talks about how he has to just go be honest with them. He's already married her. Just be honest and stop assuming that they're going to hate it. He was honest. They were surprised, but they eventually came around and everything worked out. So it wouldn't have gotten crazy, though, if he was honest in the first place and didn't believe that his family would just abandon him for this somehow maybe disapproval. So that is hidden barrier number 2. Hidden barrier number 3, and I have to make notes. More success brings more burden on others. So the real belief, when you read and get into it, is I am a burden. That is the hidden barrier. If you believe you're a burden, then why would you succeed? Your successes will just be a burden too. And that one didn't really resonate with me, but in the book, he gives an example of somebody who, actually it's himself, who was born to a young mother, and she always saw him as a burden, but the grandparents did not. They saw him as a wonderful gift. So he had this kind of split personality belief that, he was a gift to one, but a burden to his mother. So he wrote his first book, and it got published, and he showed his mom, and he remembers where she kind of looked at it like, well, good for you. Almost like it was a burden that she might even have to read something that was published by her son instead of being excited, or written by her son, excuse me. So that is a powerful hidden barrier. And it resonated a lot. I mean, it was a big deal for the author. And so I wonder if there's anyone out there that feels like deep down they're a burden to others and so they won't succeed. Wow. Please make comments down below if any of these hidden barriers resonate with you, because to kick them and to actually know that you are not a burden, you are not an accident, you are not fundamentally flawed, to actually really get past those beliefs, those barriers, would be huge. I'm working on it. I'm not 100% cured, but I am working on it, and it is powerful stuff. So, last but not least, hidden barrier number 4, crime of outshining. Crime and guilt. So, the example he gives there is there's a guy who is a beautiful pianist, and his sister dies, and they're young kids when this happens. So his parents buy him a piano, and he sits down to play it, and just before he does, his mother says, "We wouldn't have been able to afford this wonderful piano for you if your sister hadn't died." Who says that? Well, people make mistakes, and parents say things out of emotion, and little do we know that they can have a deep impact on our kids for a long time. Did his parents know that that was going to always create a hidden barrier in him? No. They were sad. It's not their fault. And that's what I really like about this author, because he doesn't place blame even on the parents. We're all broken. We need grace and forgiveness. But to hold that belief that you cannot shine your light because it might hurt someone else, that's a wrong belief. It will keep you dull. It will keep you from being fully happy because you don't feel like you're allowed to be. And so he gets over that, and he becomes successful, knowing that it doesn't outshine his sister who passed away. And the sadness that his parents feel, well, they'll always miss her. And that's not his responsibility. He will miss her in his own way. They will miss her, but he can always be successful and be happy, and it's okay. So that is chapter 2 in a nutshell. I really glossed over these things quickly so that it's not an hour-long video over one chapter. But those are really important barriers to understand and familiarize yourself with, because in chapter 3 we're going to be talking about how to tackle these beliefs in everyday life and recognize them so that we can kick them. So action step this week is to recognize your thoughts, and I want you to just feel. This isn't in the book, but I've been practicing this myself, and I wonder if it would help you too. To just, whenever you're feeling happy and then sad, a win and then a loss. That's kind of a pattern to let you know that your upper limit problem might be right around the corner, right there brewing under the surface. So if you have one of those moments, I want you to think about go a little bit deeper with that. Is there something like, I can't feel that because it'd be bad. I can't feel this good because it'd be bad. I can't do this because of a reason. And write down that reason. And actually, in the second chapter, there are 3 sentences that have to do with this. I'm so sorry I don't have it right here. Okay, here they are. I'm so sorry. I cannot expand on my full potential because I cannot enjoy abundant love and relationship harmony because in financial wealth, your upper limit mantra might say, I cannot expand on my full wealth potential because. So these are 3 aspects of your life, and you tell yourself, I can't do this because. Now, obviously, we don't talk to ourselves like this, but when something's going on, like you're having a really nice meal with your wife and then you're worried about something all of a sudden, I want you to feel that feeling and then ask yourself, I'm not allowed to feel good in this moment with my spouse or whatever because. And that will help lead you to what your hidden barrier or barriers are, and then we can start tackling it. And so chapter 3 is about doing that in everyday life, and I can't wait to talk about it. So I hope you have some time and some days to work on this, and then we will tackle that in chapter 3. I'm so excited. Thanks for joining me. Thank you for being a part of this book club, and please comment, because then we can learn and work off of each other, and it would be awesome. So don't forget to comment, and have a great day. Bye.